Like I not only am okay with things being unknown, I actively like it. I want things to be unknown. So,
Yeah.
right, is the scientific whatever method really its own creation? Maybe. I kind of like. I'm not gonna.
But if I were to put if I were a betting man, I would pick that one over any, because of how effective it is. I mean, it works, right?
I feel like I'm almost happy that I feel like humans, we don't actually know very much stuff at all. Literally, we don't know what dark matter and dark energy is, which is like 80% of like, we don't know anything. So everything that we think we know might be wrong on some level. I'm actually quite happy with that. Imagine if nothing would be worse than just knowing everything. Then it'd be like writing the perfect, like someone's like, is that your, I don't even think I've written a perfect sentence, let alone paragraph, let alone chapter, let alone book. But if I ever did, then I would just have to quit. Yeah. So I'm almost glad that, I haven't done it.
I love this little bit about Einstein and general relativity theory and truly radical questions. And I wonder how this relates to you in journalism. But, he essentially, as a pretty young kid, basically had the question, if I was in a train and I was moving alongside something at the speed of light, what would it look like?
Right.
Which is like such a radical question. Like, where do you even, and basically general relativity theory fell out from, him, or maybe special relativity theory first and then general relativity later in life. But like the act of thinking up truly radical questions so as to find truth or explore towards truth. How do you think about that as a journalist when you're interviewing people, when you're trying to find truth?
I think the operative phrase is trying to find. I'm actually was thinking like, I don't even know if there is anything that can be called truth. And of course, I wrote a whole book called True Story, thinking about this question, if 8 people are witness to it, like if there's a car crash and 8 people are literally standing around there and you ask all 8 people to write down exactly what happened, they will all be different. No one's trying to lie. It's just everybody has their own. I don't think there is a thing called truth. And I kind of am absolutely frustrated with that. After, running my mouth off on how true my books are, like there is really on some level no single truth. I'm talking slowly because I want to make sure that I believe what I'm saying. And again, this seems to be a theme of the day, which is like comfort with the comfort with not with something that's uncertainty. Comfort with uncertainty is sort of like so. Yeah, there is no. I think that any reader is not thinking, well, if a different writer wrote this book, it would be any other writer wouldn't have written any of my books nearly the same way, even if they were trying to hew to the utmost degree of truth. They would pick other things that they thought were to focus on and highlight on. So I don't even think I try and write nonfiction. Here we go again. Nonfiction in the cleanest possible way. But I just also know that truth is a word. Truth is like a goal that's impossible to achieve, but maybe I'm trying to go in that direction. But yeah, I'd have to think about what I'm trying to say.
I came across a quote: "Nonfiction is to architecture as fiction is to painting."
Yeah, I guess fair enough.
There's creativity in both, right?
And yeah.
But there's a sort of blank canvas, limitless creativity. Like if you're coming up with a story out of whole cloth and characters and what they think and feel and how they interrelate, it's like a blank piece of painting that you decide how to paint. Whereas there are certain obligations to architecture. It's like the building can't fall down.
Right.
The septic system needs to work. Like there are ethical dimensions to building a building or architecting a building.
Right, of course. You got the college dorm rooms that are just basically look like shoeboxes, and you got Frank Gehry. Both forms of architecture. Now, I'm a little more interested in Frank Gehry than the college dorm room. So yeah, there's plenty of latitude in architecture too but yes, you also have to have an engineer make sure this is not going to fall down.
But similarly, another quote I came across, somebody said this, it's like the advantage that literature has over the law is that it has a much wider latitude to convey truth. So it's like, in the creation of art, in the pursuit of literature, you you have a much broader paintbrush or spectrum of tools to use to get at true meaning, true whatever you want, morality in the case of some of your books. I'm sort of throwing these out there. I'm just curious what you think of these thoughts.
I mean, listen, I read a lot. I read a lot of fiction and nonfiction, and the subjects I choose specifically, it dawned on me while you're talking about this, are, I think the fact that's held in the reader's mind that this is a true story gives it a frisson that's different from fiction. And I can, like anybody else, I can weep, I could be afraid, I could, watching, I mean, why do, when we watch a TV show, everyone sort of like lives and dies by these characters that are even fictitious. Like, you're right, there's like an emotional truth. Then I like to pick a topic where I believe that if I told you The Art Thief, my book, was fiction made up, it would be a worse book. I think the fact that it actually happened gives the story a degree of, I don't know, the word craziness is coming to my mind. There's probably a lot of better ones. It gives the reader a degree of, an emotional layer that wouldn't be there if it was fiction. Now, fiction also you can be carried away on many flights of fancy, but the fact that it's made up is always there in your mind. So I think that I could have picked a couple of topics that wouldn't. I'm specifically choosing topics where the fact that it's fiction, nonfiction, the fact that it really happened adds to the story. And this is sort of a weird thing. Like, I look for those moments where nonfiction, where truth makes a story greater. And there's other times when you want a fable to come up with a different sort of deeper truth, like behavioral things. And so I don't know. I'm sort of circling around this subject, but I think that is I think I'm decent at choosing a topic that has sort of resonance because it's truthful.
Yeah, it has a gravity to it.
It's a good word. That's better.
It's not fanciful. It's like you're interested in it because it's a real thing and you want to learn about it. It helps you understand the world, helps you understand other people. And it's entertaining. Right.
And I've tried to write a lot of fiction and I find it to be very challenging. There's almost like too much choice. And I also like the fact that the frustrations that sometimes a reader might feel reading some of my books, like, I wish that the mother did something else. It's like, well, I'm bound by what happened. And so it's sort of like, it's like less pressure on me. Like, I already know the beats of the story and all I have to do is concentrate on making like lovely sentences. Right. Where I think you have two burdens for a fiction writer. But boy, the problem with, I love the traveling so much, as you know. I like the reporting, the gumshoe reporting and the knocking on doors and the going through lawyers' files. Like, I like that part of it. So I really